Hey, before we go anywhere, I think we should first start by addressing the big elephant in the room, right? What weapon will you actually be using on Whirlwind? Is it polearm? Nope, that's season 4 shit and that's only good for bleed. Grandfather maybe? Nah, two-handed slashing is still garbage. Two-handed mace perhaps? We're getting closer, it's quite good. But the one weapon to rule them all, the weapon sent by the gods themselves, Ramaladness. Yeah. If you don't believe me, I'll show you some Barbarians that will make you change your mind. Sad part is we don't have Barbarians anymore on Barbs because we got gutted, but I'll show you some fancy math that will probably convince you. Here you go, right? 300 Fury is not even the best, you can easily get 350, 400 if you really want to. So I think this can give you a good idea why Ramaladness is better, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, and for those of you that are saying that's not actually how Grandfather works. Well, yes it is. For anything that's not relying on gushing ones, Grandfather is a 2x multiplier whenever you crit. You see that crit damage there? That stat damage right there? It's lying to you, okay? That's your actually crit strike additive damage. Right? Grandfather just doubles your damage whenever you crit. For anything that's not gushing ones. Yeah. Like this build can easily clear T8 hordes, doing upwards of 1000 either, assuming you get the right boons of course. And you can easily carry 4-man tormented bosses as soon as you get the 4 mythics you need. As soon as you get those, you can easily carry those tormented bosses with, no sweat. You can take a ton of stacks and you'll be doing a ton of damage and you'll never die because you're just super tanky, really. Now with that out of the way, let's actually get into the build guide, shall we? I'll be covering the mythic and the game version of the build for today. First of all, we'll be using Whirlwind, of course, that's our main skill here. We'll also be using Triple Shout with basically 100% uptime, and Call of the Ancients with also basically 100% uptime. Our secondary skill is gonna be Steel Grasp. We're not running Iron Skin, it's not neither, you're already way too tanky. And Steel Grasp will make you much easier to group up enemies and just kill them all super fast, right? One of the things you need to remember, always be spamming your Whirlwind. That's like a basic for any sort of build that revolves around this. Something also really important for this build that is running Ramaladness is that you have to get basically max roll here for the 99% to cast twice, and max roll here as well on the size for you to get 96 size together with Fierce Wind. That's the only way you can actually incorporate Ramaladness and Grandfather into the build without sacrificing much. You're only sacrificing some masterwork on strength, which Ramaladness and Grandfather make it worth it, basically, right? Again, we'll be dual wielding Ramaladness with one-handed mace. That's the way the build goes. We'll not be using any jewelry on the on the gear here because you just have way too much rest, right? We'll also be running something really interesting in this build. As you can see on the build, we don't really have any way to get Berserker time, but we are running Battle Fervor. For those of you that don't know, Warcry can kinda proc it, not necessarily Warcry, but Aspect of Fierce Winds and Tyrell's Might procced by Warcry will proc Battle Fervor. So you get, every time you use Warcry, you get 10 seconds of Berserk. That's it. Yeah, fun. I also have a video that goes into more depth on this interaction, actually shows you how it works and tries to explain how it works, right? I'll link it down below. Now, for the over uniques, we'll be running Harlequin's Crest, Shaker Right will be running Tyrell's Might, together with Starless and again Grandfather. Those are all really great for the build and give you a lot of damage and make you basically immortal against most damage. Regarding our uniques, Devault's Will could potentially be swapped with Ariat's Bearing, I believe it's the name, the one that gives you your quota, they get additional damage things. You could probably swap with it. I think Devault's is better, but again, up to you really. Ragnarok's Wake. Basically, if you don't have a GA Shaco, this is the only way for you to get 100% uptime on your shouts. It's not ideal, but for me at least, it feels so much better because you can get like shouts with basically 0 cooldown, which spams the effect and spams Fierce Winds as well. And for me, that's better than just having like a strength Warcry ranked here, right? And it makes you much beefier, right? The only other thing that's worth pointing out here, Fist of Fate. It's a bit problematic with Rama Loudness. It has a weird interaction. You basically need to equip a random weapon, a random 100 sword, attack something, swap to Armor Loudness, and then it will be working. You need to do this every single instance. Every time you instance, you have to do this. So Armor Loudness actually works with Fist of Fate. So, for example, this build does not work in Pit, sadly. At least I haven't found a way to make Fist of Fate work in there. This is a bug, by the way. They are intended to work together, but alas. Now, when it comes to GAs and masterwork priorities and everything, you can check everything down here. Both of them here. I also tell you what tempers are okay for you to keep and what you just have to scrap the item and go again. Right? Sadly, that's just how it is. Another thing worth pointing out on the build, when it comes to skills here, oh, wrong one. When it comes to skills, you can run Wrath of the Berserker if you want. It's like Call of the Ancients is more consistent damage. Wrath of the Berserker, I'm not sure if you can proc the four passives, right? We can proc 50 Fury 4 different times to get the max effect. I don't think we can proc it fast enough. I think Call of the Ancients is just better for overall more DPS. Lastly, when can you swap to this build? Well, for you to swap to this build, first of all, you should at least have Shaco, Harlequin Crest. Ideally, Tyrell's Might as well, and then you can kind of start swapping to this. Besides those two, either uniques or mythics, right? You'll also need, again, the Dust Devil size and chance to cast twice. You need to at least have 85% of each of those. Without that, it's not super worth it to swap to a Ramaladni's grandfather setup. It's just kind of hard. It's really hard and it's a lot of investment, but it's a lot more damage than the other variant. That's just how it is, right? With that out of the way, if you have any other questions, make sure to, talk to me in the Discord or in the comments down below. If you like this video and you want more builds about this, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. I always try to bring a lot of Whirlwind content and I'm gonna start bringing a lot of Barbarian like knowledge, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And sometimes things just don't work as they should. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you like the build and see ya.